Hey, welcome back. We have a knife here. This seems like a very pointed sticker. I'm not so sure about that one. Super excited actually to get one of these in hand for the first time. This is a couple knives from Cozart. I'm gonna need to, Nick Cozart, based in US, makes these custom, I believe. I don't think he does CNC. And I'll probably need to take this off screen to open it carefully enough. So bear with me a second. But I've been following his work. One of my friends invited me to the Facebook group, and the styling of the knives caught my eyes. As I've started to really like my Hansen knives, I noticed that he had a very similar style for his knives, and yeah, I thought it'd be really cool to, I believe that's the COA there, check him out. And I found, I'm very lucky, I really like, so he has two main knives, I believe, the Intro and the Reaper, and I was really gravitating towards the Intro, and the guy I met on Facebook, this Facebook group, happened to have an Intro and a small Intro. So he does a Reaper, I think a small Reaper, an Intro and a small Intro. So I was able to get one of each, which is super cool. I don't think there's a date on this full-size Intro here. Looks like he's doing these in AEBL, as well as 3V, so a few different blade steels. This one's 9 months old, so it's not too old, but definitely not brand new on the small. Let's see what we think. From what I heard, they both kind of handle small. So this is the Intro, and yeah, I would agree. Even the full-size Intro is still rather small. It's a titanium frame lock, really nice action. Very glassy. Ooh, yeah, that's quite nice. No chamfer on the thumb hole, so it's a little sharp there. If I reverse flick it, kind of grab my finger there. Definitely going to get a lot of fingernail caught up in there, which is not ideal. It kind of bothers me when they do that. But also, we got to stay off that lock bar, I guess, on that reverse. Reverse flick shouldn't really do the lock bar. I guess it's just got a pretty good detent. That's probably why that flew out of my hand there. So, gotta love unboxing a knife for the first time on YouTube. Wow, the small is really small. That is way smaller than I thought it was going to be. I mean, this thing is tiny. Here's a Demco 80-20.5. This is a tiny, tiny knife. Did not expect that at all. And that thing's so small, I cannot even really get it out with a thumb flick. Let's check out. The reverse flick is actually quite good. Looks like it's got kind of a hand rub finish there. Man, that thing is small though. I did not expect that. I thought the small was going to be this size. Got the pocket clip floating a little bit on this one. And I thought the large was going to be more like a Demco 80-20 or something. That is crazy. When I looked at the blade lengths, I thought they're actually pretty good sized blade lengths for the size of the knives. This is actually what's going on, I guess, because this is 3 inches almost, and then 3.5 here. So for a very tiny knife, you get a 3-inch blade, which is pretty impressive. That's extremely efficient. I'm gonna put that up on a size comparison here against the mini bug out so that we have a full understanding of how small we're talking. Smaller, I think it's shorter than the mini bug out. That's pretty similar. That's about the same size. So that's really tiny there. It's just, I mean, I'm looking through the camera and it still looks big. Like you almost, the way it looks, you almost just can't accept that that's the size of a mini bug out, right? There's a full-size bug out to put in context further how small this is. What else do I have here to compare? Showed you the Demco 80-20.5. The Rosie feels huge by comparison. So that's how we're talking about a really small knife here. Very, very small knife. That was not what I thought going into this at all. So that's super interesting. My son just came home, so you may hear him gleefully cheering in the background here. Anything else to compare it to? Let's put it up against the CGRB Pyrite. This is a small knife, because this is already a pretty small knife. Like, this is not a large knife. This is very tiny. So one of the things I don't like about it initially is this is a very steep angle here. I prefer more of a shallow angle like this so that you don't feel it quite so. The good thing is it kind of keeps your hand there, but I'd prefer that be a little more shallow. Very interesting. See if I can roll this out. I can barely roll it out. Really got to stay off the lock bar. And then you can kind of get it out of there. So I like the styling of this one quite a bit. This is definitely my style range here. But this size is, it's too small for most of the time for me. I could, if I was going to carry it, I guess maybe this would be a pretty good size. But man, that is a very small knife. That one's very hard to open, I find. This one, I'm glad I got the large one. I almost didn't get it, but this is much more my speed in terms of the size and feel and stuff. And feel on the hand is quite good there as well. Now let's see if we've got rock solid lockup. Very solid. There's a little tick there. Make sure this doesn't fold. No folding. So lockup seems good. He's doing some cool stuff with the backspacer, the clip kind of matching the hardware. So he's got some style points going on here. It looks like this is an acid wash blade finish on this one. Let's get some of this stuff out of the way here. Clear up the view. It's a very strong detent. And this one, same thing, just a touch of side to side blade play there. But man, the action's very satisfying, very smooth washer action. They're nice thin knives. They're not like too thick or anything like that. They have a nice heft to them and a good balance. But it's really about the action. These are both, you know, this one's small intro number 1. So it's a very early variant. And they feel a little like that. Like, I'm not going to say unfinished, but not like super polished. Like the Hansen, I feel like, is a bit more polished. They're very basic, but kind of elegant in their simplicity. It's kind of like a Strider, where it's very simple, but it works really well. That's a very good comparison. Now, the biggest difference is that the Strider is like one of the most inefficient cutting edge to knife designs I've ever seen. You have so little cutting edge for the handle size. This is the opposite. It's insane, the total overall length versus, so you're talking like maybe 7 1/4 on this for a 3 1/2 inch cutting edge, and like 6 1/3, 6.325 or something like that for about a 3 inch cutting edge. So very efficient use of blade to handle. I personally am not like a big, oh, I gotta have, you know, maximum cutting edge kind of guy. That's not really my thing. This does have a little bit of a recurve in it. I don't know if it was sharpened to that. Let me see if this one, they both have a little bit of a recurve, which is interesting. I think they're flat ground. This one appears to be a nice little hand rubbed 3V. And this one's like an acid wash AABL. No milling out of the inside of the scales. They're kind of just what they are. And let's go ahead and get a little weigh in here. Sorry this is happening so late in the video. Many of you have already abandoned it statistically. Oops, I'm on pounds today. 4.17, so not bad for that full size for a 3.5-inch cutting edge. And then just around 3 ounces flat, which you'd expect. I mean, this thing is really so small in hand. Cannot emphasize enough. You know, maybe you can tell if it's just next to my fingers, just how tiny this thing is. It just feels very small. Like cramped, a little too cramped for me. But I think this is a cool knife for some people and it's worth a look. So there's a Facebook group for Cozart Knives. Take a look at that beautiful pocket clip. It's well done there. A little sharp at the end, so it might dig into the pants a little. I would recommend less of a sharp. I don't know why people do that, because it could definitely damage your pants and stuff. Less of a sharp end on the pocket clip, but a very quality feeling pocket clip. This one is not perfectly centered. Let's get this out of the background here. This one is not perfectly centered, so worth noting. It's a little off center there. Oh, just noticed this has some engraving in there, Cozart 2023. Is there anything else? Let me take a quick look. I don't see anything else in there. And what about this one? Also, Cozart 2023. Right there, if you can see it. Boom. And then let me back out here and then see if I find anything else in there. I don't see anything. Actually, there's something else milled in the scale. See if I can clean this out a little bit and get a view of what that is. Generally does pretty nice chamfered edges, but some of these angles are just a little so extreme that you still feel little hot spots here and there. And let me get my flashlight and see if I can figure out what this one says inside. This one says small intro number 1. I believe it has the number on it is what's going on there inside the scale. Small intro something. So I don't know if you can see that here, but there's some writing in here at the back. You can just sort of barely see there. I don't know if it says number 1 for sure. It says small intro. I think it does say small intro number 1, and then it says something else, but I can't quite make it out. Let's see if there's anything in here that I might have missed. Yeah, I don't think there's anything written inside of this one. So that's interesting. Must have started that later on, because I'd imagine the intro came first and then the small intro. Otherwise it'd be the intro and the large intro. But yeah, I like this large one. It's good. Again, like I'd like a slightly different angle in here for more comfort. I kind of feel that same way about the Hansen though, if I'm being honest. It's not quite perfect. Like I do prefer this sort of Demco grip style where it's a little more rounded. There's no real like spot for your hand to land on in that way. What else do I have? The Roosevelt. You'd think maybe because that was pointy that's a problem or whatever. Sorry, I know my camera's going all wonky here. You'd think because this was pointy it would be like a problem. But this is just a much more comfortable grip for me than these knives. It's good, but it's not like super ergonomic would be like my take on it. But it is very good. It is very good. Kind of have to hold it just right and then it feels pretty good. Interesting knives. I know I'm rambling on here for quite a bit. This is a very long unboxing, but the first time getting to check out the brand and yeah, definitely glad that I did. Both do appear to be centered slightly off to the show scale. So miscentered slightly towards the show scale. Not sure if that's something to do with the way he does the detent. It looks like it does kind of slide over that way after it closes, maybe. But overall, cool knives, and definitely glad to bring them to you on the channel. So I'll probably get to spend a little more time with these, get a little more oriented, and then try and bring out a little more comprehensive overview of what's going on here. But you know, nice backspacer, nice finish, nice pocket clip. If someone with small hands, they might really like this small intro. It's pretty uniquely tiny for what it is. And I think for most of us, this intro is probably about the right size. So that's all for now. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.